Celebrating the heart and generosity of innovative change makers in the Latinx community, welcome to the Corazon Awards. Now back this year by popular demand, Puerto Rican actress, comedian, writer, and mom. You've seen her on Amazon Prime, HBO Latino, Jimmy Kimmel Live, and in comedy venues across the nation. She was the first Latina comedian to be a finalist in the season 16 of America's Got Talent. Please give a big hip welcome back to Gina Brillon.
I'm just kidding. What if I did that for like 10 minutes straight? I feel like half of you would be impressed and the other half would be like, I think she might need some help. How are you? How is everybody? Yes, welcome to the Corazón Awards, everybody. Give it up for HIP. Give it up for NAP. Give it up for NAP. Everybody clap for yourselves. I am so excited to be here. How many people saw me last time? How many people saw me last time? Clap it up. Hi, new friends. How is everybody? Good? Let's do a practice clap again. One more practice clap. 1, 2, 3. Up, 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 loud, loud, loud. And down. There we go. Now we're talking. Let's get some energy in here. I can feel it. I can feel it. Everybody's excited to be here. A little bit about myself. I am una puertorriqueña from New York City. We got any fellow New Yorkers here? Make some noise. What up? There we go. Gang, gang. There we go. What up, everybody? So excited to be here. I'm a married woman. Any married people? My married people, make some noise if you're married. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. Where are my single people at? Single people? All right, relax. Relax. Relax with all that energy. Relax. I get it. Who's married more than 5 years? Clap it up if you're married more than 5 years. Who's married more than 10 years? Who's married more than 20? As you can see, they get more tired as the years. The applause get more. I'm 8 years. I make 8 years with my husband this September. I make 8 years with him, and that's wonderful. I love being married. I love being married. Single people, y'all can have that. Y'all can have that. Bless you. I'm not a good single person. People always want to know how I met my husband. I met my husband on a cruise ship. Yes, I know. So he's 90. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't make good financial decisions like that. Okay, some tables are quicker than others. That's all right. It'll flow back. Give it a minute. I married a white boy from the Midwest. Thank you so much. Thank you. I didn't think it could happen, but dreams do come true. For him. Here's why I didn't think it could happen. I'm going to be honest with you. Here's why I didn't think it happened. Number one, I did not think that white men liked curvy women. I'm so sorry, gentlemen. If any of you are here tonight, I have since done the market research. They are fans. Thank you for your service, gentlemen. Second reason why I didn't think it was going to happen, honestly, I'm not a soft flirt. I'm an aggressive New York flirt. Everything in my energy pretty much says, yo, you trying to do this or no? And for the rest of my aggressive flirts, I love you. I love you, but we may not be the same because I am not an aggressive and smooth flirt. No, I am an aggressively awkward flirt. Some of you might know what I mean by that. And let me just give you an idea. If you think that I'm flirting with you, there is a good chance I have no interest in you whatsoever. But if you think something's wrong with me, I'm definitely trying to flirt with you. I'll tell you a story that best illustrates this. In the beginning of my singlehood, I was doing a show, and a young man hit on me after the show, and he tried to use something I said on stage to hit on me, which was very smart, because I was like, oh my God, he listens. That's how low the bar was at that point. And on stage, I had been talking about how at that point in my single life, a lot of younger guys were hitting on me, and I didn't like being hit on by younger guys. I didn't want to go on a date with them because, well, I felt like a teacher. You guys can finish that yourselves. So this young man comes up to me after the show, and he goes, hey, I'm a young guy. You want to teach me something? I know. I was like, escándalo. That means scandal for those of you who don't speak Spanish. I don't want you leaving here going, why was she talking about that Mexican corn dish? That was for 6 tables. I thought this guy was cute, so I wanted to flirt back, and this is what I did as a grown woman. This is how I flirted back. I went, oh yeah. Pew, pew, pew. Finger guns? What am I, 4 years old? And I wish I could say that that's where it stopped. No. I holstered them. Yeah, I was like, he took one look at me, he was like, I'm gonna go. I was like, yeah, that's probably right, you should probably. This is why I'm glad that I am married. I'm glad that I'm married. I love being married. Marriage to me feels like you just found a parking spot. You know what I mean? But like a really good one. Like the kind of parking spot you sit in for a while and you go, I did that. Especially if you marry the right person. Like, I think I married a good human being. He's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. I don't think you should look for perfection in any partner that you have. I think you look for somebody who's willing to grow with you, somebody who's willing to learn. That's what I have in my partner. He's not a perfect person at all. He's a talker. That's never said as a compliment. That's always a warning. Like, hey, he's a talker. Go with God. No one ever heeds my warning. When I tell them he's a talker, they say the same thing. They go, oh, it can't be that bad. And I go, oh, it can't be that bad. Because they don't understand he's the type of talker that doesn't need anyone else for a conversation. Do you know how many times I've been at home like, did I leave a podcast on? Did somebody, who's bringing up random topics? And I also don't pretend to be perfect. I'm the most imperfect person I know. Trust me. To me, my biggest flaw is that my mood depends on your tone. See? Look at the rest of the toxicas. There we go. There we go. There we go. We're a problem. We're a problem. We're a problem. It's okay. It's okay. Here's what most people don't understand about someone who is like that, who notices subtle changes in moods and in shifts. It's a trauma response. It's a trauma response. If you grew up in a volatile situation, you had to adjust to every little change in tone and in attitude. Now, what you do with that information, that's on you. Some people can have an elevated conversation and go, hey, I noticed your mood changed, let's talk about it. And then there's me. I'm a very, what'd you say? Type person, right? That's, what'd you say? And I think as a society, we have established that when a woman says, what did you say? She is not asking you to repeat what was just said. She is giving you the chance to rethink what was just said. That is an assist. Take it as such. And we've had many great years together, and I'm so happy that I have the partner that I have. Regardless of our flaws, we've always come together and worked together through so many things. And now I'm a mom. I have a 5-year-old. How many parents do I have here? Clap it up. Clap it up, man. It's different parenting now in this climate, right? Everything's different. If you're from a certain generation, we're having conversations that You've never even heard of half of these subjects. Like toxic parenting, never came up when I was a kid. Would have been helpful. Or I would have got my parents with that one. I would have been like, that's toxic. You know I would have got my butt whooped, but still, I would have been like, I would have been like, still toxic, don't matter, still toxic. If you grew up in a Latino household, you know this more than anybody else. You deserve free therapy for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life. Because your biggest bullies were your relatives. I used to wake up to insults, just somebody coming in my room, levántate, gorda. That means get up, fat girl. I would always be like, damn, abuela, on the Lord's Day. I do love my family. I have an identical twin sister. For those of you who don't know, I am a twin. I love being a twin. We're very different personality-wise. I'm silly and playful. My sister, dark and sarcastic. Very different personality-wise. Very, very different. And she has low self-esteem, which is weird because she has my face. Do you know what it's like when someone that looks exactly like you calls you up and goes, I feel so ugly? You guys have been so much fun. Are you guys ready to get this show on the road? Yeah. That is what I'm talking about. Am I switching? I'm not switching microphones. I was gonna. Check. Oh, I am gonna switch microphones. She's a professional. Now, to begin our Corazon Awards, please help me welcome to the stage. It is my honor to introduce the Mera Mera, your fearless leader. Please welcome Anne-Marie HIPGiver.
Buenas tardes. ¿Cómo están? ¿Todo bien? Good. Well, it brings me so much joy, so much happiness to welcome you to really what's one of the most meaningful, happy moments of the year for me, the Corazón Awards. These awards are how we honor the heart, the courage, and the generosity that drive our collective philanthropy, because that's what we're doing, our collective philanthropy. And especially in a moment like now, when there are so many in our community who are under threat, this work is feeling heavy and it's feeling constant, and so it's more important than ever to pause and to honor the people who keep showing up day in, day out, and leading with purpose. Because in this work, real change takes what? Corazón. Courage too. It takes the heart, it takes the courage, and it takes people that are willing to stand up, to speak out, and to build a future where all of us, regardless of our status, our income, or our zip code, can live with dignity, with safety, and have true opportunity. So each year, we commission a local artist. This local artist develop work that reflects the values, and they lift up the Corazón Awards. And this year's award was created by Jody Herrera, who is a local New Mexican Chicana and Apache artist. She's a visual artist whose work is rooted in healing and cultural identity and in empowerment. And of course, she likes corazones. Her designs are vibrant, are grounded, and are so powerful. You're gonna love her work. And just like the leaders we are about to celebrate, she is a chingona. She's amazing. And so I'm excited to introduce her. So with abrazos and with love, let's give her a warm welcome. Jody Herrera, come on out.
Hi everyone. I'm the artist of the Corazon Award. I want to thank you so much for having me here. It was a true honor to create this. for such caring and generous people. Thank you for what you're doing. We need to support and help each other now more than ever. So thank you, and continue to collaborate here today. Let me tell you a little bit about the award. Nopales are recurring in my work. They represent the resilience of people, of our people. Cactus grow, protect, and they thrive no matter what circumstance. And they do it beautifully. The frame is made of clay from New Mexico by my hands. This is to remind you that you are always welcome here, and you will always be honored in the soil. Thank you.
Just act like I didn't just run up here right now. Give it up one more time, everybody. Whew. All right, moving on to cardio. All right. Thank you. Congratulations, you're doing amazing work. Thank you for contributing your talent to the advancement of HIP. Now, to present our first HIP Corazon Award, please welcome the Portfolio Director of the Colorado Health Foundation, Maribel Cifuentes.
Buenas tardes todos, ¿cómo están? Qué bien. It is truly my honor to present the Corazon Award to an incredible leader in health philanthropy in New Mexico and nationally, Dolores Roybal. The Corazon Award is about more than accomplishments. It's about how we lead with compassion, with courage, and a commitment to Latino communities. And Dolores is the embodiment of that ethos. Dolores and I share a deep connection through our work in health and health equity. We both know that health isn't just about access, it's about truly investing in our communities to fully thrive. As the former executive director of the Con Alma Health Foundation, Dolores brought this truth to life for over 15 years, guiding more than $60 million to nonprofits all across New Mexico. And she is also family to us at HIP. As a former board member, she helped shape our vision, grounded in what philanthropy could be: bold, collaborative, and led in the service of those that are most impacted. She was instrumental in building the New Mexico Funders Collaborative, a powerful model for investing in Latino-led and serving organizations. And her fingerprints are on so many of the strategies and partnerships that have become national models. Dolores' decades of service have rippled far beyond New Mexico. She's inspired so many of us, myself included, with her grace, generosity, and her commitment to justice. Now, unfortunately, Dolores is unable to join us in person today due to a death in her family. And while this news deeply saddens us, we completely understand and wish her well through this very difficult time. In her place, she has sent a very dear friend and colleague of over 50 years to accept the award on her behalf. And while I don't want to take too much time away from him, I do want to share that Dolores wanted us to know that while she has received many awards, this recognition in her home state by her peers has felt the most meaningful. So on behalf of all of us at HIP, join me in both celebrating Dolores with the 2025 Corazon Award and also welcoming on stage the Executive Director of the National Latino Behavioral Health Association, Frederick Sandoval.
Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Oh my God. Dolores is here in spirit, and I'm so honored to share her remarks. She's in a place today where I'm going to ask for your prayers and your blessings. So take this moment so as I read her remarks, we can demonstrate the heart that she has for all of you here and for those of you who have committed your life of service as she has. So I'm going to read her remarks, and then this way we can ensure that she understands that what she shares today is a reflection of the spirit that represents philanthropic work and the work of the nonprofit sector. So, otra vez, let's commence. Congratulations to my fellow Corazon awardees. I am humbled to have been included in such esteemed company. A big thank you to the members of HIP and NAP for hosting, and then the advisory committee and all of their work to make this possible. HIP's fearless and inspirational leader, Anna Marie, is also a reflection of all of that effort. To the HIP board and the staff and everyone who's been involved in planning, putting this together to make this a historic joint conference. And I want to underline what she said, historic. If you think about what this represents, she is so proud of this collaboration and what this represents. She goes on to say, I'm a proud person who is of New Mexican descent and ancestry. New Mexico is a land of deep and very broad diversity, to include Hispanic, Native American, Black, White, Asian, and many other groups, and all who have contributed to our rich cultural heritage. Bienvenidos a todos. All are welcomed here regardless of the color of your skin, national origin, or who you love. She says, I am blessed to have had the opportunity to work for and with the nonprofit and philanthropic sector for over 50 years. And that's when I met her, was 50 years ago. And she is so proud of the values we uphold. She goes on to say, my heart, mi corazón está lleno, my heart is full. And although she says, I'm truly honored to have been selected as one of this year's Corazon awardees, she says, I take no individual credit other than my lifelong commitment to service. All accomplishments were and are the result of authentic relationships and collaborations. Como se dice que una mano lava la otra y las dos lavan la cara, ¿verdad? She lives and is so proud of that. Her sense of selflessness speaks volumes for why we do this work, because we are impassioned to serve those who benefit from what we do. All the credit, she says, goes to the dedicated nonprofit sectors and partners and our local, state, and national funders and leaders who together are transforming philanthropy in New Mexico. This Corazon Award is dedicated to all of you. So give yourself a big round of applause. Mil gracias from Dolores, and again, keep her in your prayers, send your blessings. Remember, for those of us who are in these spaces of vulnerability, let us not forget that in these times, this is when we shall be together. Muchísimas gracias.
Congratulations to Dolores. Are you guys ready for more show? Can I get a oh yeah? That's what thank you, 6 people. Here to present our next award, please welcome the Chief Philanthropic Advisor of the Monarch Foundation, Christine Switzer, everybody.
Hello, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here with you today. And I feel so lucky and privileged to be able to give this next award to one of my favorite women leaders on the planet. Before I introduce her to you formally, I wanted to share a short story about her. This phenomenal woman I met about 15 years ago at a Women's Philanthropic Network event in Washington, D.C. And as you can imagine, this wealthy Women's Philanthropic Network was predominantly white women. And the featured speaker of the night was the one and only Rosie Rios, who I actually had never heard of. She was Treasurer of the United States. And I was so impressed by her remarks, and I thought, I can't believe I don't know this Latina leader. I want to be friends with her, I want to know her. And she inspired me ever since. A few years later, I had the privilege of joining Fidelity Charitable as a philanthropic advisor. And when I joined, the former CEO, shout out to my friends here, the CEO who hired me said to me, you know, Christine, it's really important to me that we diversify our board and that we have more women and ideally some more diversity. Do you know an amazing philanthropic women leader who you would recommend? And I, without hesitating, didn't even have to think for more than 30 seconds, said, Rosie Rios is the person I'm going to introduce you to. And sure enough, we made it happen very quickly. Flew out to San Francisco, set up this great meeting. The CEO said, I get now why you suggested her. We will make this recommendation to the board, and she was approved as quickly as possible. And of course, I was thrilled, because now one of my sheroes, role models, gets to join the board of the organization that I'm working with. And I was so excited that I had this opportunity. In turn, Rosie said to me, Christine, I'd like to introduce you to the CEO of an amazing organization called Hispanics in Philanthropy that I did not know about. And I just thought, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And I found my gente. I was like, I can't believe I've been looking. And so Rosie made that happen. So met Ana Mari, and the next thing you know, I was invited to join the board. So I want to share that full circle moment with you because it started 15 years ago, and I'm so grateful for everything Rosie has done for us, personally, for the country, and beyond. But without further ado, because I could go on and on telling you how extraordinary she is, I'm going to just tell you a little bit about Rosie. So when we think about legacy and about whose stories get told and whose contributions are remembered, Rosie Rios has made a lasting impact. As the 43rd Treasurer of the United States, her signature appears on more than $1 trillion in circulation. So if you have a dollar bill here with you today, I suggest you get a signature on your dollar bill from Rosie. I have a lot of them, and my kids love them. They're great gifts. But Rosie's work has never just been about currency. It's about representation. And that's what I was so inspired by when I heard her speak at that night in DC, was that, she'll tell you more about this, but that representation matters and the faces of our people matter and on our currency. And that was something that a lot of people I do not think about. They underestimate it and underappreciate and undervalue. And because of Rosie, for the first time in over a century, we now have women on our currency. We have 4 quarters. And that's really remarkable that one woman did that by herself. So I think that warrants a major round of applause. Her career spans, in addition to doing this, she's done many other things. So her career spans real estate, finance, public service, economic revitalization, from managing a multi-billion-dollar federal budget to launching educational tools around economic empowerment. She worked across sectors with intention. She's also the first Latina in Harvard's 388-year history to have a portrait commissioned in her honor. Awesome. Through her nonprofit, Empowerment 2026, she continues to highlight the contributions of women who have shaped our country, especially those whose names have too often gone unrecognized. And Rosie, your work reminds us that how we honor history shapes how we build the future. And I think that's really incredibly important for us to keep in mind. And Rosie's story is a remarkable one, which she may tell you about, but one of 9 children raised by a single Mexican immigrant mother. And this is what that one Mexican immigrant mother produced and what she has done for our nation. So with that, I just want to say thank you, Rosie. It is such an honor and a privilege to give you this Corazon Award, and I'm delighted and thrilled to call you my friend. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christine. My goodness, I should hire you as my publicist. That was very, very lovely. And thank you to HIP, to Anna Marie for having me today. I am going off script. I'm not going to use a teleprompter because too many things have inspired me to say what I'm going to say. So first of all, thank you. Again, I'm honored to be here today to see a lot of old friends from the administration, among other places in my life. So we need to do this a lot more often. And in my personal time, my passion is women, money, and power. But when you have Latinos in positions of money and power, I can't think of anything better. And so that's what you have here today, and that's what's going to change our future. It's not words, it's action, and it's investment. And for me, as was mentioned, yes, I am one of 9 kids raised by a single mother. My parents came to the Bay Area in 1958 because my dad was a migrant farm worker for the Hunt's tomato factory, and that's where they decided to stay, and 11 years later, she had 9 kids, left an abusive relationship, and with the help of our church, we all thrived with the best educations possible, and somehow she managed to send all 9 of us to college. It's really the American dream. And everything I do is for my mom, who just passed away not that long ago, so it's still very, very fresh for me. But I think of her every single day, and now in my capacity as chair of America 250, this is the congressional commission that's planning the nation's 250th anniversary next year, I never in a million years would have realized that this is where I would be today, even 15 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago. But this is what I'm doing, is I'm leading this bipartisan effort to unify the country with 350 million Americans participating, and it is not an easy feat. And we are, by law, bipartisan, and I think we all have to think really hard about what that means to be the oldest democracy in the world. We are a nation of nations here. If you think about who we were in 1776, Alaska was Russia. California was Mexico/Spain. Hawaii was its own kingdom. We doubled our footprint with the Louisiana Purchase with France. So this nation of nations concept is such an important theme. And we are the only country in the world that has every other country represented in it. So while we are not the world is us. And that brings a tremendous responsibility for all of us. So as we think about the 250th next year, which is also the year of the World Cup, which is also 2 short years later, the LA Olympics, we're going to have billions of people from around the world watching what happens in this country in those 2 very short years. And who would have thought that I would have the privilege of not only living the American dream, but trying to make as many Americans as possible feel like this is the land of opportunity all over again. And what I'm most proud of are my kids. I can't tell you how proud I am of them. My son also went to Harvard. My daughter finished UC Davis early, finishing up her 3rd year of her doctorate. And even though she's still 24 years old, my goodness. So my mom's legacy lives in them. And I can't think of any better tribute to my mom than what they have built for themselves and what they will continue to build for the future. If you want to see the future, study a millennial and post-millennial. It is a very, very different set of generations than what we are. But that's another theme I want to leave with you. Look, in my family of 9 kids, 8 siblings, 4 of us are Democrat, 4 of us are Republican. I'm the only one that's a fiscal conservative but socially liberal. And I think that's something we should all be, and it's never, ever, ever been an issue in my family. Not once, not ever. We've never had those discussions of D's and R's. It's always been, of course, how Catholic are you? That's the discussion. But I think it's a lesson learned from all of us, that maybe it's time to grow out of our boxes. Maybe it's time to think about a future, that we think about a collective voice, not what divides us, but what unites us. And so for me, I think that started a long time ago when I was appointed onto this commission in 2018, appointed as chair in 2022, and still continue to serve in this administration with pride. Because for me, it is about country first. And that means recognizing all of us who are here as a nation of nations. Thank you again for what you do, for what you support, and I am so honored to be here. Thank you.
Congratulations, Rosie. Let's give it up one more time for Rosie. To present our next award, please welcome the co-founder of the Latino Media Group and X Research, Stephanie Valencia.
Thank you, everybody. This is such an honor for me to present this next award to a very dear friend, mentor, somebody that I actually really consider family. Some people don't just move between worlds, they build bridges that connect them. Henry Munoz is one of those people. He's a Tony and Emmy Award-winning producer, a powerhouse business leader, a cultural architect, and a fierce advocate for the Latino community. He has the rare combination of a designer's eye, a political strategist's mind, and most importantly, a heart rooted in justice and belonging. Whether he's founding movements like Latino Victory, the Dream US, Momento Latino, he's one of the founding advisors and investors in Latino Media Network as well. Henry has always understood that visibility, voice, and power are inseparable, and that our community deserves all three. In every chapter of his career, Henry has shown that Latinidad is not just present, it's generative. It builds, it leads, it heals, and more so now, we need to know that. He's one of the few people who could go from a political briefing at the White House to producing a show to launching a health initiative, and somehow make it feel like it's all part of the same mission, because it is. No matter what he's up to, it's clear that he believes deeply, deeply in our people, in the joy, the brilliance, and the dignity of our stories, and he knows they belong front and center. Henry, wherever you are, you have reminded us that to be a change maker is not to play by the rules of the systems we inherited. It is my deep, deep honor to present this Corazon Award to someone who leads with creativity, conviction, and an unstoppable corazon, Henry R. Munoz III.
Stephanie knows, and my friend Tony Tijerino knows, that I get real nervous, and I'm very awkward with awards, but I thought it was really important to be here, and so I thought I'd just talk from my heart, and I'd be okay. Stephanie, I admired you the first moment I ever met you, because you had a presence that was bigger than your years. And you would look at things, big, huge projects that could create massive change that other people would look at and say, that's impossible. You just gathered people around the idea and moved us all forward. And I'm so grateful to you, not only for this introduction, but for your mentorship of me. The Ana Mari and this organization, in fact, actually, I was so nervous, I thought it said hip hop conference. Thank you to these organizations, to Hispanics in Philanthropy and Native Americans in Philanthropy for seeing something in me and my story. And I'm so grateful to you and your organization, and to Hector. Where's Hector? Hector, who I've known since he was a baby and now he has a baby. For bringing this conference to New Mexico, where my Corazon resides, right? Thank you, Jody, for institutional. In fact, Isaac, who traveled with me today, said, wow, Henry, you actually do have a heart. I do have a heart now. I'm going to put it in my house in Santa Fe, and I appreciate the beautiful art. It will reside in a place of honor. And I'm so thankful that so many of you got to come here and to see our beautiful people and our culture. I'm always going to be a Texan, and I live a lot of time in New York, but I carry New Mexico with me everywhere I go. I was trying to think about what could I tell you about philanthropy and about how I even got here and why I've lived my life the way that I've lived it. And I will say this. I was thinking about the first time that I ever felt fear, when I was afraid or scared. And I think I must have been about 5 years old. And I don't know what it was, but I remember I must have been crying, and my mom came into my room and she laid down next to me and she taught me a prayer. It was only 4 sentences, but I've never forgotten it, right? And she said, tonight when you go to bed, you're gonna be peaceful, right? But in the morning you need to get up and get on with it. I mean, she was very tough and very loving. So I was raised in this household by 2 labor leaders, right? And we never really had the big house or the swimming pool. We just had a lot of experiences. And we had a big American car. And my dad we didn't have that much money, so they were union organizers, and my dad used to like to take us on drives, right? Sundays usually. And I don't know if it was the next day, but it was sometime like in that week. And so my sisters and my brother Joey are in the back seat, and my dad's driving, and my mom is over on this side, and I'm in the middle because I'm the baby. And I saw something out of the corner of my eye, and maybe I lost a tooth or I had a speech impediment, I don't know, but I kept saying, "Po dog, po dog, po dog." And the farther we got from what I'd seen on the side of the road, the louder my voice became, "Po dog." And my father finally said to my mom, "Elida, shut him up. What is it that he wants?" And she got kind of irritated. His name was Henry too, but when she was irritated with him, she would call him Ruben. She said, "Well, Ruben, he wants you to go back and pick up that poor dog that we all saw on the side of the road." And so we did. And that dog was right there waiting for us. And I can still remember the feeling in the car, like the joy of changing the life of another being that was shared by my whole family. And that dog was on so many picket lines and marches over the next few years that my dad started to call that dog 125, because he and my mother were fighting for a minimum wage of $1.25 for the migrant farm workers of Texas. I never heard the word philanthropy in my house, but I did see many, many examples, small examples of being a person for others, always an extra chair at the table, always a plate of food for someone who showed up, money taken out of a pocket and extended to somebody in need, always another community meeting for something or someone. I mean, I learned so much in that time from everyone I met, from my parents, and from that dog. That was their core mission, and today it's mine. I was thinking, things have never been easy for us. And these are very, very dark times. And I would be lying to you if I told you that I don't get scared. It's 60 years later, and I still put myself to sleep with that prayer that my mom taught me. But when I wake up in the morning, I am absolutely positive that I have been given, that we have been given, a tremendous inheritance, an inheritance of patriotism, of compassion, of resilience, of empathy, the kind of creativity and hard work that comes when you've always had to work your way up from the bottom to the top. La vista desde abajo. And we possess a unity that comes from knowing that you have no option. We have to lift each other up. We give because someone gave to us, and sometimes we give because no one gave to us. That's philanthropy. So I'm going to leave you with some words that I heard my father speak in halls like this, probably not as nice as this, to people just like us. He used to say, freedom and opportunity are not our birthright. They were not handed to our people on a silver platter. We've had to work for them. Sometimes we die for them. And every single day, we earn them all over again. Every single day, we earn them all over again. So I'm gonna say thank you to these organizations for what you do, and thank you for this honor.
Congratulations, Henry. Everybody give it up one more time. Here to present our final HIP Corazon Award is the President and CEO of the Center for Nonprofit Management, Efraín Escobedo.
Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, beautiful people. If you'll indulge me for 1 minute, it's said that el corazón, the heart, is the seventh sacred direction within, right? That it's our connection to the purpose of the universe and the creator, which is love, right? So with all of us here in this room celebrating the tremendous, inspiring love with which all our honorees do their work, I'm gonna ask us to do something collectively as a group, and that's connect to that seventh sacred direction. So if you'll indulge me, and with your right hand, just kind of find that beating heart, right? Find that little piece of the creator and the universe that we have. And I want us to think about our time together this week, and for a moment,
just try to channel the fear, the pain, right? The anger, the sense of powerlessness that has been wreaking havoc across our communities, right? Whether you're detained or feel like you've been kidnapped or even pushed, accosted, assaulted, handcuffed, just bring that into your heart right now. Bring all those folks in with you. And I ask that as you connect to that, that when we leave here, we carry that feeling, that love forward into our work and our actions. Because we talk a lot about perspectives, we're gonna talk about policies, we're gonna talk about frameworks. We love frameworks. But at the end of it is, what does love guide you to do? And in this moment, our work is gonna be guiding us to resist, reclaim, and rebuild our communities and our democracies. So thank you for that. Thank you. There are leaders who respond to crisis, and then there are leaders who reimagine what's possible in its aftermath. Dr. Nelson Colon is one of those visionaries. For over 2 decades as president and CEO of the Puerto Rico Community Foundation, he has helped transform not just philanthropic landscape in the island, but the very definition of what it means to invest in community. Nelson's work has been about power, about building human, social, environmental, and financial capital from the ground up. It's about working with communities, not for them, as he would say. After Hurricane Maria, when much of the island was left in darkness, literally and metaphorically, Nelson led an innovative solar grant-making strategy that supported solar communities across Puerto Rico. He followed it with support for community aqueducts, offering people not just water, but autonomy and dignity. When the earthquake struck and the pandemic followed, he once again answered the moment with bold, community-driven solutions. His leadership has elevated racial and gender equity, anchored Puerto Rico in global conversations about sustainable development, and helped position community philanthropy as a force for structural change. He reminds us that philanthropy can be an act of liberation, and that when rooted in community, it can help us weather storms, not just survive them. Nelson, es un verdadero honor reconocerte esta tarde. And on a personal note, I want to thank Nelson for his leadership as a past chair. I was just entering the board in the time when he was chair, and his leadership and mentorship has really made this a tremendous experience over the last decade. So I want to say gracias, Nelson, for that as well. So please join me in celebrating our Corazon awardee, Dr. Nelson Colon.
Querida comunidad, ustedes son, you are my community. For me, this is coming home after a few decades that I've been working with HIP as a board chair. I want to express my gratitude to Ana Mari, to the board, to the staff, and all the people who have supported us in this journey. Let me bring you a very warm greeting from the island nation of Puerto Rico. Bad Bunny, who no one knows who he is, he reminds us that despite more than 500 years of colonial rule, Puerto Rico stands strong as a nation, as a culture. Our belonging to our respective nations, the Mexican, the Pueblos, the Apaches, the Puerto Rican, the Navajo, that is the common thread that connects us for collective action. We are living a historic moment, as has been mentioned before, when the multicultural fabric, the richness of multicultural diversity is threatened by the distorted notion of a superior race. Silence is no longer an option because neutrality is complicity. Equity is not just a dream, but a demand from the soul of our people. We cannot plan for the future without dismantling the legacies of colonialism, exclusion, and silence. Paradoxically, our communities remain interwoven by nationhood and inequities. Racial equity is not a side issue. It is the issue. It is the thread that runs through housing, education, disaster recovery, philanthropy, and economic development. That is the issue. However, we need to look at the path forward. The path forward is paved by stronger nations and collective actions. 3 years ago, the Puerto Rico Community Foundation launched the Racial Equity Building Institute for the Americas. And the notion behind it was racism goes beyond borders. So the answer is also beyond borders. The Racial Equity Building Institute is a platform that connects Afro-Americans, Afro-Latinos, Afro-descendants from Canada to Chile. So it is a space of coming together. So my invitation today is to look at the wider Americas in plural, to look at the resources, to look at the strength that we have, the Navajos, the Apache, the Mohawk. Those are our extended sources and resources, not only for Native American, but also for Latinos, for Afro-Latinos, and for every single person that enrich this country. So that is an opportunity for the philanthropic field. The convening of all our families dispersed in the Americas, it is an opportunity for us to come together. The Corazon Award is not just a recognition, it is a commitment. It is a statement that we will no longer wait for institutions to catch up. It is a statement that we will, it is a statement that we will no longer wait for, we are building the future now. We are choosing to center love. Yes, love. As a radical force, love for our people, love for our truth, love for dignity, love for the communities. Because love without justice is a sentiment. But love with justice, that's power. So let us be bold. Let us be loud. Let us be committed to justice. The transformation depends on whether we are willing to embrace equity, not as a checkbox, but as a way of life. Receiving the Corazon Award is a deeply meaningful honor. And I am sincerely grateful for the trust and recognition. De corazón a corazón, muchas gracias.
Congratulations, Nelson. Give it up one more time for Nelson, everybody. And let's give a big round of applause to all of the HIP Corazon awardees. Give a big round of applause to them. We have come to the end of our luncheon. Thank you all for allowing me to return as your host again this year. I really appreciate it. It's an honor. A couple of quick programming highlights in closing. The Author's Corner is starting in the Franciscan Ballroom, and coming up next here is a flash talk with Vanessa Roanhorse. So make sure you stick around for that. And finally, we invite you to our closing reception at 6 p.m. across the street at the Sawmill Market. I love this truly inspiring award ceremony, this gathering of community leaders and from all across America. So give yourselves a round of applause, and on behalf of HIP and NAP, thank you for coming to this joint conference. Enjoy the rest of the day, and we will see you next year. Good night.
To present this afternoon's flash talk, Rematriating the Economy, Reclaiming Capital for Indigenous Futures, welcome the CEO of Roanhorse Consulting, LLC, Vanessa Roanhorse.
Hi, everybody. I hope you had a good lunch. So I will start with something I've been playing with. And the idea is that our interdependence is our risk mitigation. Imagine an economy where trust, not credit scores, collateral, regulatory policies, determined who actually got access to resources and capital. Where wealth isn't measured in dollars, but in the health of our children, the strength of our kinship, and the stories that our land can continue to hold. Where power does not sit in the boardrooms or in our legislative sessions only, but actually in community circles rooted in relationship, reciprocity, and responsibility. This isn't a fantasy, it's a remembering, and that's rematriation. My name is Vanessa Roanhorse. I am Navajo from the Navajo Nation. I'm a mom, a twin, fraternal. We look nothing alike. I live here on Tiwa lands in Albuquerque with my partner and our 11-year-old. I co-lead Roanhorse Consulting with Olivia, my twin sister, and together we're designing what's not just next, not just for our people, but for a world that's ready to shift. At Roanhorse Consulting, we are a for-profit social enterprise. We spent the last decade building our relationship to the earth, to capital, and to power. Our work has been about moving capital to indigenous-led solutions, absolutely. But it's also about returning to the root of who we are and how we live. So what is rematriation? Well, it's the return of what was taken: land, language, decision-making, and sometimes dignity. We've had to come to our own definition of rematriation because if you actually type it into your phone, your computer, it will autocorrect to repatriation. Rematriation as a concept is unfortunately still very new, and we are all defining it for ourselves. For many, it's about rebuilding our relationship with the earth. So at Roan Horse, here's how we define it. To rematriate the economy is to reimagine how capital flows so that Indigenous women and femmes are again seen as the caretakers and architects of economic life. We're the bread makers and the breadwinners in our families. We're not just participating in a system, we are rewriting it as we walk it. Because patriarchy has given us extraction, capitalism has commodified our labor, our lands, and our future. But rematriation, it can restore a relationship. Because it reminds us that the land is not a liability on a balance sheet, it's our relative. It tells us that everything alive has value, and not everything of value can or should be priced. So when we talk about investing, we're not asking you to generate a return on investment for shareholders. We're asking, how do we protect life for the next generations ahead? This is a crisis of capital, which is currently the tool of today. Because let's be honest, the current financial system is working exactly as how it was designed to benefit a select group of people, billionaire class. It wasn't built for us in mind, and it's definitely not looking back. It doesn't reflect our collective worldview, and it certainly will not serve the future because it is short-term, time-limited, and frankly, we don't have enough resources to scale. We're living through a time of authoritarian resurgence, environmental collapse, and growing economic instability. And for people across Turtle Island, this unfortunately is not a new situation. For some of us, we're still living that DNA in our lived family experience. And yet still capital moves toward extraction. It's wild. Toward short-term gain, growth, for only the few at the expense of all of us. So at Roan Horse Consulting, we stopped asking how to fix a broken system. We just decided to build our own. At the end of 2024, we launched Return on Indigenous Studios. It's the first Indigenous studio across the United States. It's the first of its kind to use an ecosystem approach dedicated to Indigenous-led, regenerative ventures dynamics, and ventures that are focused that aren't looking at extraction practices, but replace it with relationship reciprocity and rootedness. Our venture studio isn't interested in venture capital. We're not that interested in traditional underwriting. We're building something that currently just doesn't exist. So, what is our Indigenous investment ethos? Well, we follow 7 principles that have really grounded us, and we have taken those principles from scholar Leanne Simpson, who is really just one of the most incredible Indigenous authors who penned the Indigenous worldview principles. And we have used that as grounding to come up with our investment ethos. So the first is relationality. Relationships over transaction. Trust over credit scores. Holism. Investments must serve economic, spiritual, and cultural needs. Cyclical thinking. Growth is not infinite. Rest and regeneration aren't just sacred, they're required. Collective ownership. Wealth must be shared, not hoarded. Land as a relative. The earth is not an asset class. Can we just get that through our head? It is not an asset class. She is sacred. Sacred capital. Every dollar should ask, what is my impact on life? Not just mine, but others, and all the living beings around us. Finally, it's intergenerational impact. We have to be investing for our great-great-grandchildren. These aren't new ideas. But these are strategies that we've embedded into every fund and venture we've launched at Roan Horse Consulting, such as the Rematriating Economies Apprenticeship, which is placing Indigenous women in asset management roles across the United States, because we hope in 10 years they will oversee $100 billion in Indigenous-controlled capital. Like our Moonsoon Fund, which goes live later this year, it'll provide flexible capital between $250,000 to $1 million to Indigenous femme founders ready to scale their business. Third, Center Native. We got into the tech game, and it's a tech-enabled platform that we hope will scale visibility and investment into Native-led solutions. And honestly, this came out of the pandemic, because we got tired of everyone asking us, who should we fund? Where should we put our money? And then when everyone's built new BIPOC funds, we got tired of being asked, where's the I in BIPOC? Because we're not interested in building unicorns, we're building a constellation of care. A global pattern is not a new framework. This isn't just happening at Roan Horse Consulting in New Mexico or in Indian country. It's happening across the globe. We are not alone in these concepts. In Brazil, the Finipop Fund provides capital to farmers who survived a dictatorship and now steward their lands through our agroecology. They accept lower financial returns for higher community outcomes and have community collectively make the decision on where the investment goes. We are seeing this reciprocity as a policy, flexibility as a strategy, lived experience as expertise, and risk as only the start of the conversation. This is not innovation, this is ancestral wisdom. We're not building technically anything new, we're just returning to those memories. Finally, when we often hear investors say, this sounds great, but it's just too risky, let me be clear. The riskiest thing we can do right now is stay the course. Because the systems we uphold today are accelerating the entire climate collapse. It is eroding democracy, and we're locking out those most impacted who have the best solutions. The cost of inaction is a future I'm not willing to tell my children, that I didn't do something when I could. This is not about charity, it's about responsibility and your kinship to each of us. It's about remembering who we are and how we're meant to live, and with each other and the earth, and how you decide to rebuild your relationship back to her. We're not asking for permission to build, because we're already doing it. But we invite you to join us, to move money not only at the speed of trust, but the speed of relationships. To rematriate the economy because our collective survival depends on it. Thank you.
To present our next Flash Talk, Traditional Stories, welcome the co-owner of Emergence Productions, a cultural exchange program for American Indian youth, and the lead singer of Native Roots, Emmett Shkimi Garcia.
Konnichiwa. Domo arigato. I don't really speak Japanese. Hola, muchos gustos. Is anybody there? Did you all take a nap after lunch or what? Hello, everyone. Koatsi, Hopa. All right, that's the spirit. Hello, my name is Emmett Shkimi Garcia, and I'm from Tamaya, not too far from here, just over there, one of the Pueblo tribes of New Mexico. I'm here today to share a few words with you all. These words are
Some time ago, I applied to a young leadership program called AIO. And, hey, we have an ambassador here. All right, we got some ambassadors here. This ambassador program was founded by LaDonna Harris, and she's an activist, also the wife of Senator Harris. Back in the late 70s, she did some awesome work and decided to form this coalition of young leaders throughout Native America and First Nations Canada. In 2002, I was ambassador to 0304, and then during that time we gathered together 4 times, here at home, somewhere in the country. I think it was Washington, D.C., and then we went abroad at some point, and then back here in America. But nonetheless, since that time, another ambassador program started up in New Zealand among the Maori. That is the sister organization to AIO. It's another young leaders program, advancement of Maori opportunity. With that, also another indigenous ambassador program started in South America. My point is that we are just realizing that we are all related, all us indigenous people. Even more so now, we're getting the idea that someone's put us all in the same boat as people of color. But back then, what made the ambassador program strong was that we were able to share ideas. We were able to sit down and look past our differences, look for the similarities. And there's a power behind that. So being invited here today, I see people of all cultures, all places. I see people that are activists, movers and shakers. And I'm one of those people. I'm one of you. You're my people. So with that dialogue has to continue because we're all similar. Our histories are similar through either colonization, or maybe you're removed from your homelands to another place, or whatever it may be. We have all of these challenges. Of course, we all know those challenges. But how is it that we overcome those challenges? How do we move forward? And the way to move forward is just to stick together, to continue that network, to reach out to one another, being that we're all related, being that we all have similar backgrounds. No matter what field you're in, somebody has an answer. Someone's already doing it somewhere else. When we come to these places, we hear presentations, right? We say, oh man, that'll work for my community. That'll work for me. That'll work for my program. But sometimes when we go back home, we don't know how to apply that program to our own people. Then it frustrates us because we're like, well, why aren't they embracing this program or this thing that's good for them? Sometimes you just really don't have to tell them what's good for them. Sometimes you just have to do it. I've seen some scholars come back home from college, and I get it. People that are doctors, they get their doctorate degree, and I understand you have some deep parts of your brain that have more knowledge than the rest of us. But a lot of times, some of our scholars come home and they come from a scholarly background, as opposed to a humble background, a humble place. Someone like me that will, a collective of people that will come together and figure out the dynamics of your tribe or your people and how you think. I've seen too many come home and apply something they learned in school or some other community, and then it just doesn't quite work. Sometimes it's got to be a simple and humble program. Start there. One of the programs that always encourages me is when I went to New Zealand, Aotearoa. We have any Māoris here, any Aotearoa? Oh, I'm surprised, they're everywhere. Their language program, for instance, they at one point say back in the 70s, they were, I don't know, maybe 10% spoke the language of their native language, and it was slowly dying away. But this movement today, if you go down there, you say, oh, wow, awesome, great. There's over, maybe 200 full immersion Maori schools all throughout North and South Island. Colleges, they give certificates of achievement for Te Reo Maori, a language of Maori. It's great. Some of us that go there just see that achievement and say, wow, I want that for my tribe. But sometimes you got to look at the roots of how that movement started. And when they tell you that movement, they talk about the elders that started the program. The first few wahine, what they call the elder, who started the program in the garage of one of their houses. And they went around and told the people, come bring your children to learn the language. And nobody wanted to do it. They were like, well, if they learn this language, are they going to fail in English? And, all these questions arose. Few dropped out along the way, and maybe just a couple of those students stuck with it. And then others started to see the success of that movement, and then more people started to join in, and it just got bigger and bigger and just snowballed into what it is today. That movement always drives me crazy because I want that for my community. And one time I went down there and I told one of my mentors, Bentham Mohia, hey, Bentham, I hope to save my language one day. And he tells me, brother, hope isn't a solution. Do something about it. Start now, start tomorrow. Yeah, and so that always lights my fire. My dad and my mom are my heroes. My dad, he built 2 houses. Both him and my mom, the first house, and the second house with our help as children. But my dad didn't know nothing about building houses when he started building the house. He didn't have the money. He was a laborer for 36 years. But he built 2 houses. And the way he built those houses is that he just saved one board at a time every payday. He kept building and building. One wall collapsed one time, and he rebuilt the wall and asked for advice from this guy and that guy. And finally, he built our home. And the same with the other house, too. So he encourages me with that story, and my mother the same way, with her going back to school and getting her bachelor's degree. And she already was doing great things before in her career. But it's those stories that drive me every day. And I don't have all the qualifications that you all might have. I'm one of the war chiefs of my tribe, a young war chief for my community, a Ma'asewi, appointed by spiritual leaders to serve in my tribe. That's my lot in life, to carry my people. And that's why I wear my hair in this traditional hairstyle here. Every day I make that sacrifice to lift up my people and help however I can. So on the ground, I'm there. I'm there trying to help the children, the elders, the potters. Man, this life is just too short to do everything. But nonetheless, I'm just here to echo a voice of solidarity at this time, as you know what we're going through with this current administration. And you know what? This administration is only 4 years. You know what our ancestors endured over the history of our time? This is nothing. This 4 years is nothing. Don't let it get you down. We've been through worse, and there's more good things coming for indigenous people, for all of us. But that's if we come together and share that information and reach out, help one another. Because that's all we have right now. We just have each other to overcome the obstacles that's happening in this country right now. So that's my advice to you all here today. So just stay strong. Say hopa trawashkis tia tisia nikona bana paitstia hopa pahea questuchano. Hemetsa ishk shukanya toena kutapano. That all of us are one people. And compared to the history of this earth, that little dot right there is us. So let's treat each other well, treat each other good, and continue the good fight for our people because they need us. They need all of us. So with that, I'm going to sing a very short sacred song, and I want you all to sing with me. You guys ready? It's a very sacred ceremony song. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be all right. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be all right. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. 3 little birds beside my doorstep, singing sweet songs, of melodies pure and true. Singing, this is my message to you. One more time. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be all right. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be all right. All right. Thank you. So with that, thank you for having me here at your wonderful event. I hope you all continue to move forward, to connect, to love each other. Because again, we all need each other in this time. And I'm really excited to meet some of you all, to attend some of the presentations, and just to get motivated here. Like our mentor, LaDonna Harris, says, just get radical. Just get radical. Yeah. Have a good day. Patrol.
We are going to take a 15-minute break, and we will be right back. Thank you.